So now we're going to start putting things together. I'm back in no man's land, a little bit more space. And this is really the furthest back you're going to be making contact with an approach shot. But I think it's important to give yourself a little more room to accelerate and start to get comfortable with the shaping of your shots. And so I'm going to have Kirby feed to me, but you could just as easily take the basket and drop to yourself, or you could use a ball machine. Dropping and hitting is still great practice here. And all I'm going to do is put myself through some different experiments, aiming for different heights and different depths, aka different shapes, so that I can continue to get a feel for hitting different heights, depths, and shapes. So I'm going to start off at like an easy 25-30% acceleration, and I'm going to aim well up over the top of the net. So I've got some acceleration here, but it's pretty calm and relaxed. I'm not starting to accelerate this very much at all. And I'm hitting these like 8 or 10 feet over the top of the net, and they're easily falling past the service line and well inside the baseline. So this would be an example of a very shaped shot. So now I'm going to start to accelerate a little bit more, and my target's going to be closer to 6 feet, maybe 6 or 8 feet up over the top of the net. So triple the height of the net like I was doing before. So a little bit more acceleration, bit more confidence. That's what I'm looking for right there. And not quite as much height, but still a very deliberate, obvious curve to these shots. Okay, and now I'm going to accelerate a little bit more. This will be probably close to half speed. And my target now is going to be 4 to 6 feet over the top of the net. So still curve. I'm not driving it right over the top of the net like so many of you watching and your peers are doing on your approach shots. Still a definite curve to it and a little bit more acceleration. That's what I'm looking for right there. And so this curve gives me margin over the top of the net and inside the baseline, so that I can hit the ball confidently without hitting the net frequently or driving it through the court frequently. And you can continue from here as well. If I wanted, I could go a step lower, 2 or 3 feet over the top of the net. That's a little flatter than I wanted. And go a little bit more shape, something like that. This would be a pretty offensive shape. Not a height I would usually aim, because it just doesn't give much margin for error. So for those of you watching at home, you need to know your own game. You need to know your ability to manage, and you've got to put in the reps, obviously, to practice this, so that on demand, the way that I'm changing these different trajectories and shapes is by dropping my racket lower on some. The more shape I want, the lower my racket drops. And the faster I accelerate, the more I've got to close my racket face to keep the ball from going too far. So for example, if I go 50% and my target's like 6 feet over the net, and you hit a shot that looks like this, and it's got shape to it, but it just floats and travels way too far, that's a racket face adjustment that needs to be made. And so it takes time to develop a feel and intuition about what adjustments to make and how to control what the ball does. And this, for me, is the critical skill needed to be successful with the approach shot. The shorter the ball is, the lower it is, the more shape you need. The higher it is, the easier it is, the more you can drive through it. And you need to be able to, on command, hit everything in between. And so the 3 drills that we just went through are designed to help you develop the feel and a technical ability to, on command, create different shapes, different results that match with different scenarios on the court, so that you can continue to accelerate and be confident without making a whole bunch of mistakes.